Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Dragon Hike and Fly Briefing 2022. A new format for this year's briefing. I am pre-recording and going to post this online in our various groups and social media so that you can watch the briefing at your leisure today and make sure that you have the time to sit and take it all in. I'll be asking you to sign to that effect tomorrow morning. So without further ado, let's get to it. First of all, we'll start with some thank yous. In particular, a big one to Cumfroyd Campsite. So Pridey, who's very kindly stepped in to allow us to host the event there. Losing Langatic Park Farm Campsite was devastating this year for all of the events and lots of pilots who come to the area. So Cumfroyd may well become a new home for us paragliders locally, especially because it's right on the main west side of the Black Mountains ridges. So it could be an epic spot for us. And looking forward to having a great weekend there. Also, massive thanks to Air Design, who've sponsored the event for several years now and have provided some fantastic prizes again for us. Please check out the website for Air Design gliders, and it really is significant to them to do some social media stuff. And I'll go over that in more detail later, but really appreciate if you tag Air Design gliders in your Facebook and Instagram posts over the weekend. It makes a big difference actually to our chances of getting sponsored again, and the level of support they're able to give. Another thanks to Stodius. So we've also been supplying their Varios for the last couple of years, and they've got some groundbreaking products, especially given the unavailability of some Varios. Stodius have fantastic accelerometer-based micro Varios, and they've got a new product coming this summer, which looks really interesting. They have very kindly supplied us with 2 prizes, one for this race and one for the Griffin, and they're going to be for the best female pilot over the weekend. Thanks also to Cross Country. So Hugh Miller, who won the race last year, very kindly has donated 3 prizes for this race, £50 vouchers for XC Mag Shot, and those are going to be for the winner, the best female, and the best newcomer. Thanks also to LiveTrack24, who host the live tracking and enable you to use your own tracking devices over the weekend, making it very simple and cost-effective. Finally, thanks to South East Wales Hang Gliding Paragliding Club, who are at the forefront of hike and fly in the UK from a club point of view. Great sites officer Todd McIntosh has helps negotiate with graziers and all the other interested parties so that we have the ability to fly for a weekend off some pretty wild places within the Black Mountains that 10 years ago we would have been in so much trouble for doing. So thanks to the club for hosting us, and moving on. Right, the flavour of the Dragon 2022. We've got 50 pilots registered. There's a few dropouts in the last 24 hours. So on that, if you know anyone who would like to enter, there is a possibility of a last-minute entry. Let me know, drop me a telegram or give me a call. We've got 4 nations registered: UK, Ireland, South Africa, and Lithuania. We have a former UK cross-country record holder amongst the competitors. We have 6 female entrants. That's twice as many as we had last year. And we have 0 tandems this year. And I think pilots, including Greg Hamilton, probably realise it's quite hard work. A bit of an agenda for the briefing as we rattle through now. Let's go. Right, this is our arena. I know most of you have flown here, but we are in Crickhowell on the eastern side of the national park, and the Brecon Beacons National Park is made up of the Black Mountains, the Central Beacons, and the Black Mountain over in the west. And specifically this year, we're going to be based out of a little campsite between Crickhowell and Telgarth, and the route really is going to be based around the Black Mountains. In terms of airspace and no-go areas, we are blessed that we have very little controlled airspace in the area. The little circle at Talgarth is the gliding club, and they'll probably be quite busy over the weekend, so keep a good lookout for sailplanes and gliders on tow with powered aircraft. Other than that, all the other red circles and danger areas are not to affect us. But I have got some rules to overlay for you, more from a racing point of view. So the B4560 between Langorse and Bulk and the A479 are to be considered corridors that you are not allowed to use on foot. They're dangerous main roads with no footpaths on them, and so you are only allowed to cross them or find the nearest exit onto footpaths or minor roads. If you get stuck and you've got, say, a 400 or 500 meter walk to the next exit that you can possibly take, please just give me a call. I'll be on the phone throughout the day, just so that I know that you're exposing yourself to that risk on the road. But please, we're not going to use this as any advantage, and you're not to deliberately walk along either the B4560 or the A479. And we've also got no towns this weekend that are going to affect the race. The area, despite being, or I should say, as well as being one of the best places for cross-country flying in the UK, is also very popular with horse people, unfortunately. And there are several riding centres, including one which is in the region of Gilver, which is where it says adventure activities on the map. In order to placate them, I am putting a no land zone on the race this year, as we did in one of the previous years. So if you imagine the red triangle that I've created on the map between the centre of Langorse, there's a minor road that goes up to Cocket Hill, and then follow that south-southwest along what we would call the hill line, which is the bridleway that runs along the top of the fields before it gets onto the common. And then from Catherdine Vower back along the B4560 up to Langorse. Please do not land in there. If you do, you will receive a 2-hour time penalty, and that will be taken immediately as soon as you move clear of the area. So tomorrow, that would end up most likely with you taking that time penalty at Cocket Hill. A little on the weather forecast. This is the Brecon Beacons mountain area forecast for tomorrow, and it will be updated again this evening at about 7 p.m. So please check it again then. We've got clear spells, intermittent lower cloud through the early hours, with cloud building more widely during the morning, remaining rather cloudy from then on, but with some brightness from time to time. Generally dry, although isolated light showers are possible into the afternoon and evening. Chance of cloud-free hilltops, 60% for most of the day. A maximum wind speed expected. So winds on the summits, usually this forecast is taken at 2,000 feet or 600 meters. Southwest at 30 miles an hour initially, and then easing to 20 miles an hour for mid-morning. Temp is going to be +7 at 600, rising to +11, and in the valley 11 rising to +17. So a nice mild day. No issues with the freezing level, well above the summits. Low cloud visibility is a risk, so scattered cloud forming around 500 meters in the early hours, particularly on the western slopes, giving misty conditions at times. Cloud largely above the summits by day with good visibility, but still occasionally falling to 400, 500 with isolated showers, which will bring periods of poor visibility. And then for Sunday, we don't have a great accuracy at this range from the mountain forecast, and they're saying an overcast day with periods of hill fog, especially during the morning. Rain likely late morning to early afternoon, but probably becoming drier with sunny spells developing. Moderate southwest winds with freezing level above the summits. Onto our surface pressure charts. This is for midnight tonight. We have low 991 off the coast of Iceland. A couple of occlusions wrapped around that one. And we've got high 1025 over Bay of Biscay, trying to help us out. Other fronts coming in off the Atlantic within the next 48 hours or so. Met Office then says at 12 o'clock on Saturday, we've got Transient Ridge from high 1024 up to 1012, so between the centre of the high and northern Scotland. So potentially lunchtime onwards, this is our best flying opportunity tomorrow. Then at midnight, the occlusion starts to influence North Wales. And Sunday lunchtime, the occlusion is starting to get overhead. So anticipating that poorer weather on Sunday afternoon. Our boundary layer average wind speed for tomorrow at 11. This is over the Black Mountains specifically. The orange is 16 to 18 knots. The yellow is 14 to 16, and the green is 12 to 14. Looking ahead then a few hours to 1600, it does drop a couple of knots. And we're now looking at an average of about 14 knots at the boundary layer within the Brecon Beacons. Within the Black Mountains. At 1900, it's kind of stabilized a little, but yeah, somewhere around 14 to 16 knots. At 1300 on Sunday, we have south-southwest, and it's slightly lighter, so more like 8 to 14, depending on quite where you are. Put a couple of soundings in. This is for midday tomorrow. Quite a lot of cloud in the upper atmosphere, and some convective cloud lower down. The best sounding for the whole weekend is at about 3 o'clock tomorrow. Slight chance of stratus at about 10,000 feet. However, if that doesn't form, you should have quite a nice convective cloud, possibly around 4,000 feet cloud base, which would be lovely. And then Sunday, yeah, you can see the lower base, less wind, but some cloud forming at around 6,000 to 8,000, which will form probably as stratus. And then Saturday, star rating. Note, this is not a foot launch star rating. This is the sailplane forecast. And at 1300, it's 4-star in the area, and it even gets better than that through the afternoon. On Sunday, 1200, we're in a 0-star in the Black Mountains, but just to the north of us, it starts to trickle into 1 and 2-star. So there's always a chance that it'll improve for us. Some rule clarifications for us then. This stuff often is done as a Q&A at the briefing, so please fire any messages into the Telegram chat group this afternoon. Tag me so that I know you want me to reply, and I'll do my best to answer. My first answer immediately will be, please read the rules, because they should clarify most things for you. In particular, things like the mandatory equipment, I'm going to put on the screen in a second. The role of your supporter, clarify that they are to support you by looking after food and water. They are not to carry your equipment for you at any time. Methods of travel, you're only allowed to travel on foot or by air. Anything else will result in disqualification. You're not allowed to move in a vehicle during the day unless you're abandoning, but during the rest period, once you've hit a location for your last waypoint of the day, your last point that you're going to reach that day, you're allowed to move in a vehicle to a campsite or wherever you want to be for the night. And then in the morning, you return back to where you left off within 100 meters for your second day on foot and in the air, hopefully. If anyone breaks controlled airspace, they'll be disqualified. I don't think that'll be an issue this year. Cloud flying is not allowed, so you must remain outside of cloud at all times. If anyone sees any pilots cloud flying, please let me know. It will be anonymous reporting, and a pilot will probably end up being disqualified if there's sufficient evidence. Trespass is quite a big one. Of course, we're operating on the moorland and the high mountains around us here. But when you're in the fields, please try and stick to footpaths as best you can. Close any gates that you found closed and leave any open that you found open. Normal country code stuff. And yeah, any protests about any athlete's conduct, please directly to me and I'll deal with them. Team flying, that is totally allowed. So if groups of you who are competitors want to team up and fly together and use communications, you are totally allowed to do this. What you're not allowed to do is have a supporter lead out for you and support you in the air. Flying or hiking is totally your decision, and it's based on the conditions and your ability. You are under no pressure to fly from me or the organization. Timings, I'll come on to those. And the frequency for those who want to use a radio, it is not mandatory, is 143.900. Here's our mandatory flying equipment. Please just take a read of that. And excuse me 1 second. I'm back. Sorry, recording a Zoom meeting is not without its challenges. And right, tracking. So we are going to use LiveTrack24 as our primary means of tracking. There's an event page set up at which you're all registered or must be registered by this evening. And when you start your phones or whatever tracking devices you're using tomorrow morning that are associated with that account, you'll automatically have your tracks uploaded onto the LiveTrack24 website. What I do ask is as a backup so that I can keep tabs on you using XCRT, that you use Telegram as a backup. We have the Dragon tracking group, which you all need to be members of. And I would ask that at approximately 2-hour intervals when you're hiking and before takeoff, after landing, or before hiking down into a likely no signal spot, you make a post, something along the lines of a pin drop, and then post #map with whatever's happening. So Bill taking off from Balmoral in 5 minutes. I ask that you report in safe on Saturday evening at 2100, or please try to anticipate loss of signal if you're likely to be dropping down into a no signal zone late in the day. Text in early in that case. Thank you. Social media, as I said earlier, this is quite a big one for us. It's really significant for the school to have the promotion for the fact that we supply air design gliders and Stodius instruments. And so also for the sponsors to give them something back, please, please, please tag air design _gliders and Stodius _paragliding and at XCMag in all of your social media posts over the weekend. I'd love to get loads of Facebook Live video and Instagram out there so that people can see what we're up to in the mountains. And when you're filming, remember landscape, not portrait. Prize giving, that will take place on Sunday evening. It will be at Cumfroy campsite. We'll meet up at 5 p.m. for Gurkha curry and the prizes. And hopefully in that last couple of hours, we'll have seen lots of gliders flying into the goal, which would be a great way to have everything co-located. Prizes will be for top 3, top female, best newcomer, the Hay Bluff Hero, Rebecca's plastic-free Krakow prize, and social media prize. All right, the bit you've all been waiting for is the task. So, as I said, we use LiveTrack24, and Matt Tandy will be setting the task up on LT24 this evening. So I don't have a QR code for you yet, or a web page with the task downloadable, but I will give you the waypoints now so that you can start plotting and planning. As such, the QR code will also come later on. Timings, right? We will start tomorrow morning, 0900 at Cumfroy campsite. Our last landing will be at 20:30. Night stop, so no more hiking after 2100. The start of day 2 will be 0700. First takeoff 0730, and end of speed section will close at 1600. You have a much longer window on day 1 and slightly longer day 2 window than we had last year. And as it says at the bottom, 1700 onwards for food and prizes. All right, our start. We will have an exit cylinder 200 meters at Cumfroid campsite. Turn point 2 will be Alt Iresca with a 400-meter cylinder. Turn point 3 will be the Hay Bluff car park. This will be a 50-meter cylinder, and it will be mandatory to have one tracking point on the ground within the cylinder. Further clarification on that, the first person to reach the Hay Bluff turn point will be the Hay Bluff Hero. All pilots must either hike to the cylinder or land somewhere either inside or outside of the cylinder, and then take a selfie to be uploaded to social media with sponsors' flags in the background. A pilot's glider must be on the ground while the selfie is taken, and the first pilot to make it will be crowned the 2022, that should say, my apologies, Hay Bluff Hero. Turn point 4 will be Llantoni Priory with a 400-meter syllabus radius. Turn point 5, Sugarloaf Flying Site, 1 kilometer. Turn point 6, Penglochy Pibir, 400 meters. And the end of speed section and goal co-located Cumfroid, ESS, 1 kilometer, and goal 100 meters. So final points. Please make sure you have plenty of water, sun cream, and perhaps even a showerproof jacket for the weekend. We will have a few helpers who've kindly volunteered to man some of the turn points. So you may well be able to ask them to carry some things for you to take to the turn points, but they'll be there with lots of water and some snacks for you. Registration will be tomorrow morning from 0730 at Cumfroid. Come and see me at my desk to sign and collect your gift. If anyone has any questions, please post them in the Telegram group, tagging me at Alistair Andrews so that I get a ping on my phone and know to respond. I'll do my best to respond to all questions this afternoon, but of course, anything else can be answered tomorrow morning at registration. And stand by later on today, we will get the LiveTrack 24 website up and running, and the task will be downloadable and waypoints shared. Thanks very much for listening, and see you all tomorrow.